Okay, in our last part of section 6.2, let's take a look at a Venn diagram that's already created for us with those three sets. The book does exactly the opposite of what I do, right? It puts one set on the top and two on the bottom. In some cases, this one's set B. This is A. This is C. We know that there are 10 people in B only, 3 in the intersection, 7 in A only, 2, 8 in C only, and finally the 11 out here in the universe. So they're just asking us to read the Venn diagram, again, getting used to the notation. So they want the number in A union B complement. A union B complement. So the union means everything in those sets. So everything would be all of A. So that's the 7, the 4, the 3, and the 2. So 7 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2. And then we're going to add in anything that's in B complement that we didn't already include. So B complement, everything outside of B would be the 8 and the 11 because we've already got the 5, the 3, and the 2 listed. So we'll add in the 8 and the 11. So plus 8 plus 11. And if you add those all together, you should get 35. Part B is asking for the number in A complement. So we need everything outside of A. So outside of A would be this 10, this 5, this 8, and the 11. 10 plus 5 plus 8 plus 11. When you add those, you're going to get 30. Part C is asking for the number in A intersect B complement intersect C. Now we've done this several times now. So again, the intersection of A, B complement, and C. So I guess we'll do the check marks again. So A is this one, this one, this one, this one. B complement would be outside of B, which is this one, this one, this one, and this one, and then intersected with C, which is this one, this one, this one, and this one. You'll see that this region right here is the only region that satisfies all of those, and so that would just be those two. Hopefully the process of reading the notation is getting easier for you. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more problem. Let's take the words, translate it into a Venn diagram, and then answer some questions. And this is the hamburger problem. So it tells us that in a survey of 100 customers at the Happy Hamburger restaurant, the customers were asked what toppings were on their hamburgers, and the results were as follows. 40 had onions, 35 had mustard, 50 had ketchup. So let's use O, M, and C, and I'll use a scripty O. So we know the number that had onions is equal to 40. We know the number that had mustard, so we'll use M for mustard, was equal to 35. And finally, the number that had ketchup is equal to 50. We know the number that had onions and mustard, so onions intersect mustard is equal to 15. We know the number that had mustard and ketchup, mustard intersect ketchup, is equal to 20. The number that had onions and ketchup, which would be my husband, would be 25. And finally, we know the ones that had all three toppings was 5. And altogether, the number in our universe, which I didn't write down, is 100. And then, of course, there are some questions about it. But let's take this, put it into the Venn diagram. What you really should do is pause the recording, go see if you can do it, and then come back and check your answer to see if you were correct. Before you do that, though, let's get all our sets in the same spot. So let's make this the onions. We'll make this the mustard, and we'll make this the ketchup because that's the order they were listed in. Okay, let's start in the middle. We know that 5 had all of them. That takes care of that 5. 25 had onions and ketchup. Onions and ketchup on my picture of these two. We need 25. We've got 5. So that's going to put a 20 right there. We know that 20 had mustard and ketchup. That's these two together. We need 20. We've got 5. We're going to make that 15. Onions and mustard would be these two together. So we have 5. We're going to put a 10 up there and get the 15 from that. The number that had ketchup is 50. So right now we have 20, 20. We've got 40. So that's going to put a 10 sitting out there. And again, altogether, those 4 numbers will now add up to that 50. 35 had mustard. Right now in our mustard, we've got 30. So we need an extra 5 sitting out there. And again, I'm just adding 10, 5, 15, 15 and 5 is 10 is 20, plus 10 is 30 from 35. And sitting out there in the onions only, we need 40. We've got what, 25, 10 is 35. We need 5 more people. Now, if we add all of those together, we've got 10, there's 20, that's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So that's going to leave me 30 out here in the universe from our initial 100 people. And now that we have that, we can answer the 2 questions. How many had hamburgers with onions only? So only onions. So only onions would be this 5. And that's it, just the 5 that are sitting out there with the onions. And then finally had none. They're asking for the people sitting out here in the universe with none. So 30 people prefer none of those 3 toppings on their hamburger.